Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Mark Prater podcast, where our aim is to connect our global family of churches with our executive director. Mark, we were just talking right before the podcast, preparing for this podcast, about your heart is full this morning with gratitude and appreciation for the local church. Why don't you share some of what's in your heart right now?
I love the local church.
Yeah.
I've been impacted by the teaching and preaching I've benefited from in Sovereign Grace and in Sovereign Grace Church for years. That has really it transformed my life. Over
Yeah.
25 years ago, to see how God works through the local church, and it's been something that has marked us as a family of churches. That we love the local church. We do call it the dearest place on earth, as Spurgeon said. And I want to make sure that we don't lose that in the years to come, especially in a culture where you read these poll numbers and attendance in churches are down. People can
Yeah.
be a little bit either apathetic or even suspect of the local church. And we can't forget this is the dearest place on earth. And so my heart is full of just love for my church,
Mm.
but for all the churches in Sovereign Grace, and a desire for us to not lose that. I mean, let me just read the Spurgeon quote,
Yeah.
just to stir all of us who are listening to this. Spurgeon says, "Give yourself to the church.
Mm.
You that are members of the church have not found it perfect, and I hope that you feel almost glad that you have not. If I had never joined a church till I had found one that was perfect, I would never have joined one at all. And the moment I did join one, I should have spoiled it,
Mm.
for it would not have been a perfect church after I became a member of it. Still, imperfect as it is the dearest place on earth." And
Yeah.
that's a phrase that we have, sort of that's marked us in Sovereign Grace churches, and not just in our family of churches. There are other denominations and movements who share our love for the local church, and we just wanted to try to capture that in our statement of faith. Our statement of faith really says it so well, that the local church is an expression of the universal church, and it's the local church that is the focal point where God works to mature his people and to save
Mhm.
sinners. And we just can't forget that in our day, that the local church is the place for the Christian to be, and to live life together, and to reach the lost, and to do good works. And I'm just stirred by that this
Yeah.
morning, and love our local churches in Sovereign Grace.
Absolutely. And it is wonderful. I've been reflecting recently on our new statement of faith, and I think deepening our theological and biblical convictions about all manner of things. That in most denominations, there seems to be a natural drift towards more liberalism. And
Hmm.
in Sovereign Grace, we are doubling down on our
Right.
biblical convictions. And so each
Yes.
local church that's faithfully led by faithful pastors standing on the word of God. There are no
Hmm.
ordinary Sundays, and that is no ordinary church, no matter how small or insignificant that the guys may feel. So it is wonderful to
Hmm.
reflect on that. And in fact, you have an update for us from a Sovereign Grace church about some good work that they are doing.
Yeah, I want to tell you about a good work that has been done actually at Lakeview Christian Center in New Orleans, and I think it's good to sort of frame this a bit biblically. As you read, listeners have read Revelation chapters 2 and 3, where Jesus speaks to the seven churches, and those are for us today as well. And I'm sure people have noticed this, that as he speaks to five of the seven, he begins by saying, "I know your works." So Jesus seems to be aware of the good works that he's given us to do, as it says in Ephesians 2:10. And with that in view, I want to talk about the good works that Lakeview Christian Center has been doing after Hurricane Ida. So Hurricane Ida came through. They're still feeling the effects
Yeah.
of that storm down there. And there's a care team at Lakeview Christian Center who went to work. And one of the things that they did is they gave out approximately 4,000 meals over 5 days
Mm.
to feed their community. And what a wonderful expression of a local church being salt and light. within their community, meeting the practical needs that were very felt at that time. And I'd love for you to take a look at the video we just posted on our blog on the Sovereign Grace website. It'll give you just a glimpse of how that care team was at work and the line of cars going through the parking lot of Lakeview Christian Center. That is an expression of God's plan to use the local church as a focal point to mature his people and to save sinners. And I'm sure there were sinners driving through that parking lot that God warmed their heart towards the gospel as they experienced the love of Christ through this local church. So well done, Lakeview Christian Center.
Excellent. Well, we'll be sure to check out that video if guys haven't by the time this posts next week. Thank you, Mark, for your heart of appreciation, care, love for us in Sovereign Grace churches. And thank you all for watching. We'll see you here soon, next week, in fact, Lord willing. So bye for now.
Thank you for watching. If you have questions or comments, Mark would love to hear from you. For more videos like this, hit subscribe on YouTube or by email at markkprater.com.